Having been at war for long, and when you come to a peaceful settlement, first of all, you don't believe it has happened, and then you got to adjust. Adjustment becomes difficult. The demands during war were different from the demands during peacetime. At peacetime, you got to provide services. During the war, all you did, you were to prosecute the war. Can I get out here? Mandit.
Chắc kịp phần chứ. Ở đó một tí là vậy. Chắc kịp cho cốt cả đôi qua. Cả đôi qua. Chân trời em mai cha ra qua mà quanh cốt chia của bùi mi. Cha về đây ya tin thế cái ni bro mới join nhal. Lát gió cái điều kia bên cuối xem mà roll bor cái junu cái liu. Junu cha về đây ya tin thế cái ni bro mới join nhal.
Into one of our key stories this evening is a new state is born starting midnight tonight.
So now this is our time, our freedom. So we have to enjoy. Yes, you see, we have to enjoy our freedom.
Il est des guerres dont naissent des États. Le 9 juillet 2011, le Soudan, plus vaste pays d'Afrique, est coupé en deux. Le Sud déclare son indépendance et devient le 193e pays du monde. La fabrique du nouvel État est confiée à l'ONU. Après le Kosovo, puis le Timor oriental, c'est la 3e fois que ces équipes se lancent dans la création d'un État.
Secretary General. Humanitarian coordinator. How are you? Nice to see you.
Nice to see you.
I hope you're well. Was it okay?
Yeah, very good.
Congratulations on your marriage. She's beautiful.
Yeah, he's right and left now, so I've got Mugabe and him.
Soudan du Sud, année 0. L'une des seules routes du pays commence à l'aéroport.
It's Chris in Juba, South Sudan. How you doing? Could you? Yeah, because she's standing out in the boiling heat. So if there's any guest from the United Nations.
It's Lise Grande. The challenges that are in front of the new government of Southern Sudan are absolutely enormous. In the coming months, the government is going to have to decide how to distribute political power, how to organize the economy, how to structure its military, how to deliver public goods and basic services. I don't think we've seen anything on this scale, as I said, for more than 100 years. What we need is to support them with a lot of assistance. It's not something we can do in 5 years or 10 years. It's going to take a generation. That's why the international community needs to be prepared to stay the course. Okay, so we have 10 minutes. Good, Jackson, thank you.
Okay, welcome.
Lise Grande est représentante spéciale adjointe du secrétaire général pour la coordination de l'aide humanitaire, le redressement, le relèvement et la reconstruction. Avant d'être nommée numéro 2 de l'ONU au Soudan du Sud, elle a été en poste dans une dizaine de missions. De la Palestine à l'Arménie, du Timor oriental, une réussite de l'ONU, à l'Angola, un échec.
Okay, so first one, context. The key message is people in the South are overwhelmingly young, rural, poor, uneducated, and lack access to basic health services.
So, yeah, health services, but we could say
Basic services.
basic services.
Is it the size of France or is it bigger?
It's about the size of France. It's the most comparable country.
Is it true that only 2% of the kids actually graduate from finish primary?
It's actually a bit higher now. It's about 7%. I just checked with the
7% are completing primary.
Yeah.
Okay.
So
7% are completing primary.
Yeah.
And it's a lot less for girls.
Okay, now I want our brand is that 15-year-old girl who has a higher chance of dying in childbirth than in finishing school.
Yeah.
She needs to appear in here.
Okay, keep it in.
Then the key elements of state building agenda are, okay, diversifying the economy, democracy, administrative core functions. What else? Social progress and justice. I mean, I think that what has to happen here is we conceptualize the state building stuff. Okay, the building blocks of it. Yeah. Then you do a slide on particularly the areas where the UN's going to come in heavy.
Yeah.
Okay, we're going to come in heavy on the
Military and police justice.
Yeah, that's a core state building element.
Okay.
Core state building element is getting the army into bloody barracks, getting the police deployed.
Okay.
On the state building thing, I've got a new tag on this, and the new tag is there has never been a state building project as difficult as this in the 20th century. Okay, so that I want that headline somewhere. Okay.
L'interlocuteur principal de l'ONU pour construire le Soudan du Sud est Riek Machar, le vice-président. Il est passé sans transition de la lutte armée à l'exercice de l'État. Ses anciens compagnons d'armes sont aujourd'hui ministres. La guerre de libération a duré 50 ans et fait des millions de morts. Les attentes sont à la mesure des sacrifices.
This is supposed to be a proposal, just a proposal for the city, the capital city of Southern Sudan. Could be built anywhere, here in Juba, depending on the location decided by the government. This is a proposal. I guess this should be the presidency, ministries, then city center, the financial city center, residential areas. We're actually looking forward to building the capital.
Une capitale, un drapeau, un hymne, autant de marques officielles de l'existence du nouvel État pour lesquelles l'ONU n'a pas eu son mot à dire.
Stronger than that. Okay. Oh God, choir alone. That's the choir alone. Oh God. Okay.
كافول ولكن بقى عدس.
أجمل.
ها؟ أجمل العدس.
أيوة.
يا زول.
You try some.
We had breakfast in the plane.
قبل اليوم.
عايز أغير السيستم كله للجمهورية جنوب السودان وهذا والورق المروبط والحياة
كله
غيره.
بس نحن لسه في صراع الجمهورية السودان الجنوبية ولا جمهورية جنوب السودان؟
خلاص هي حيسمى المشكلة هنا يا أخي خلاص يبقى جمهوريتكم الولد بيسموه أبوه ها دي أصل يعني الترجمة ديسايد المسألة دي
لا ديسايد الترجمة الصحيحة هي جمهورية السودان الجنوبية الترجمة الصحيحة
نعم
ولكن الناس تقول جمهورية جنوب السودان ما بيعكس
يعني زي محمد وحاج محمد
Let me help Ashraf.
Thank you very much.
يا الأمريكان قلت لهم هي ارفعوا العقوبات دول لو ما رفعتوها
دعوقونا نحن ذا
هم قالوا لنا بالواضح as long as you continue to use the facilities مش بس البايب
facilities
كل الفاسيلتيز including the marine terminals خلاص your oil is under sanction.
طيب هنعمل شنو؟
ولو الشمال عنده participating interest برضه you continue to be under sanction.
آخر الحل فيه عندهم
جاب الحل شنو؟
آخر لما ضغطتهم كده قالوا هاي الحكاية ده شهر ممكن نشيله. You know our budgets 98% of our budgets is on oil revenue, if not 99%. So oil is everything here.
لازم الجايين زين ستاندباي نجيبون يوم كم بخصوص رامشين والسكة حديد.
I keep telling my colleagues we need to mobilize, attract not less than $500 billion in 5 years so that they change the face of this country. We have an international airport, paved roads, the rail, improve on the river and the ports, pipeline, refineries, agriculture, things of this kind, and build a new city. This guy says I'm dreaming.
It's a dream because they can come to it.
So these files came from different offices.
This whole thing is Equatoria, right? That is where is it?
Those for Equatoria were already taken there. This is the regional ministries. This portion here is for the regional government, the ministries, the staff from the ministry. We are very concerned of every information here. Any slate paper, we don't like it to go out from here. Even the cleaners, if they're cleaning, we are concerned about it. Let no paper go out from here because they are very important for us. This is our concern.
Okay.
Les membres de la diaspora reviennent. Jok Madut Jok était professeur d'histoire dans une université californienne. Il a désormais la charge de construire la mémoire nationale.
Now these ones are very important documents, so it needs some lamination because we need a hard paper in order to plaster it on it, then we scan it. So some materials we need also scholastic materials and these stationaries. We keep them here because this is part of the museum. This is part of the museum, part of the material culture. Yeah. So when you see this spear belongs to Capoeira, Eastern Equatoria. Eastern Equatorial Province, we call it Capoeira. It comes with Capoeira, even the silt.
So they would go into a National Museum of Heritage when it is built?
When it is built,
These ones will go there?
Will go there.
Very painful to see this. Heartbreaking.
This is our past sitting here being eaten by
most of them
insects.
L'ONU élabore à New York depuis 20 ans doctrines, programmes et règles d'or pour construire des États. Lise Grandet et ses équipes doivent les adapter, en faire une feuille de route pour le Soudan du Sud, chiffrée en milliards de dollars.
About 2 years ago, when it became clear that almost certainly the South was going to vote for secession. At that point, there became a real worry and preoccupation with the possibility of state failure. That what we could see was a new state being born, but one that was going to fail very early on because essential functions weren't yet in place. So what happened was a team of international experts, they were funded by the US government, came in and spent 4 months in the South, and they analyzed the functions that needed to be in place to ensure that the state survived. The first 19 functions, I have the list in front of me, it includes things like, for example, a procurement. It includes things like financial oversight of monetary policy. It includes treasury. When I got here 3 years ago, there was no treasury function, which meant that all of the pay packets that were being issued each month were being put in little brown paper bags. There was no treasury. You can't run a government without a treasury function. That's one of the 19.
As you are already aware, we need to educate the people, go to the people individually, educate them, so that you tell them exactly what we are going to be doing. So basically, this is what we want to meet the taxpayers one by one, talk to them about the role that we are doing and what we are doing, so that they know exactly that revenue collection is very, very important, taxation is very, very important.
11e objectif sur les 19 de cette feuille de route négociée entre l'ONU et le gouvernement, installer un système de collecte de l'impôt.
So the issue is that no matter how the product is, because we tax you according to your profit. So if it is £1 you're supposed to pay, you pay £1. If it is £2 you're supposed to pay, you pay £2. And we want everybody to contribute so that the government can get money to provide development projects for you. For instance, this market needs to be built, you see. So even you can be selling the red oil, but you are under responsibility to pay something small towards what? Development. You understand what we are saying?
Yes.
Aha. Ask them what is happening here. Ask them, talk to them.
Smoked fish.
Who is the owner? Who is selling the fish? You are the one selling the fish? Yes. How are you?
I'm fine.
Oh, and government is not a businessman. Government doesn't generate any money. The only way government gets money is to collect taxes from you for development. So as an individual citizen who are in business, you are under responsibility to pay what? Taxes to the government.
Soldats et policiers alimentent l'insécurité plus qu'ils ne la contiennent. Comment transformer une armée de libération en force de l'ordre qui protégerait la population? 7e objectif, former la police.
What we have today is a Bill of Rights. Bill of Rights. Do you have any idea about Bill of Rights? Nobody have any idea about what human right is. You don't even have any idea of what human right is, or Bill of Human Rights, or what it's. You have heard the word before, human right?
Yeah, human right. It's a fundamental freedom of human, whereby anyone can be born free and given.
Yes. Right to life, freedom from slavery. That is, I think this is the fight you are fighting for now. Freedom from slavery. There are conditions that you use your rifle. The conditions are, no, you are not infringing on anybody's right. You have right to defend yourself.
If you want to defend yourself,
yes.
you cannot. You can even not criticize, except that the right hand.
You aim the law. That is what is the law. This country has been into war for so many years. So it will take some time. Gradually, all these things will be addressed. They say there's one that was not built in a day.
Did you get it? New
Yes.
note. Okay, you guys go through this because this is about to go to press. So everything that we had hoped for, that we would have at least an agreement in principle about the relationship between the North and the South, if not something actually signed, didn't make it. Plus, no agreement on how they even continue the discussions, no agreement on timing. We could be involved in negotiations for months and months and months without anything being settled.
That's the best case scenario.
That's the best case scenario. The worst case scenario is the North becomes so frustrated, their position becomes more and more difficult, and in retaliation or in response, they take aggressive action.
Apparently, Bashir has communicated that to the African Union that they don't need a third part for the negotiation.
That's what I was saying, that the role, exactly this, Giovanni, the role of the high-level panel is being openly questioned. So not only do we not have a roadmap or a time frame, we may not have a negotiator. That's exactly right, Giovanni. You are correct in that information. Carolina, I want the following bits. I want number of returnees per day. I want numbers in Costi. Sit down with Cecilia, see if you can get me something on how many people are in the train station, how many people are coming into rank. Give me a story with numbers, okay? Okay, you guys, just so people know where this story is moving, we are now briefing a couple of key points. Number one, this is the largest peacetime population movement since World War II. Okay, that tagged off the BBC, and we checked it, and it's solid. So we are now briefing that. I mean, I don't think I knew that until I heard it on the BBC.
We're at peace.
Okay, well, we're not at war. Plus, we've got 600,000 people on the move in the South, 300,000 people coming back, 272,000 people that are displaced. I mean, these are just gigantic numbers.
Les exilés rentrent au pays. L'État leur a promis une parcelle de terre. L'ONU organise les rapatriements.
يا من وين؟ وين في خرطوم؟
والله من 82 انا ما كنا ساكنين في سواجر اجر في ايس قاعدين اللي كده من دويل جنة لقينا كلهم.
لما انت جاي للجنوب ده انت مثلا انت خطيت في راس بتاعك او في فكره بتاعك بكون عن الجنوب. انت نجي لقيت جنوب كيف؟
لقيت جنوب كان نجي الجنوب ده من اول انا جاري هنا انا عندي دراهم.
عندك زراعة هنا؟
تتاكل. عندي بقر.
عندك بقر.
عندي بيت.
وعندك بيت.
قلبي بتعمر بسيط. يا ده اللي جبته. أنا كم بصنّي وأنا بعمل قد كم بصنّي ده. وش أنا بعزل كبير. يعني عندي ناس. يا بدل فكري اثنين كده.
The Americans told me that China is coming in with a big package of support to the army. Yeah, that's interesting.
Are we expecting China to be one of the donors for the DDR?
No. We are expecting Japan to be, not China. They're gonna do infrastructure and, well, right now, I don't know if they're gonna do anything, but if everything goes back on track, they're gonna do infrastructure. They're gonna do hospitals.
Okay. For the ex-combatants?
No, hospitals for each of the states.
Okay.
So like a big state hospital in each of the state capitals. I mean, the best thing is if they would do the electricity grid, because I don't know who else is gonna take that on. Every time I try and talk to the government about electricity, you know, I keep talking about, you know, rural electrification, you know, a pole and some copper wire and a glass top for a conductor. But they want this, you know, state-of-the-art electrical grid. Like, and who's gonna pay for that?
For the actual repository functions of the archives. In Norway we built it underground, and a major problem here in South Sudan would be the challenges related to humidity, a very high amount of humidity, and that means that the repository has to have a kind of climate control. So
yeah, no, I think that if that is the professional
it might be
opinion.
But in Norway we have one repository, but it is of course huge. It goes six stories underground, and we also had to expand it underground, so we had blown out parts of the mountains.
Obviously, you need to you want to store the ones you have now, but you make room for all the acquisitions going into generations.
Could be good. Yeah. For those areas you have to have a certain type of access control and so on. The doors are of a certain type and so on. It's a very solid material, and you have to log. You have to have like digital logging, electronic logging of who accesses it. So.
Of course, you didn't want to have a building that nobody knows how to run. You know, we have to think about how long it will take for people to be ready.
Six mois à peine après l'indépendance, une crise interne ébranle la jeune nation. Dans le Djonglé, une zone où l'autorité de l'État est battue en brèche, les rivalités tribales sont attisées par des milices. Un massacre vient d'avoir lieu.
So you had a force of 8,000, that's a conservative number, it was probably around 10,000 if not higher, faced off against a battalion strength from UNMES, 400 boots on the ground. It then takes the column in mass 2 days to get to Pibor. As the column was moving, it was torching the hamlets. People were moving, more torching, cows were being taken. Then the column turns back. They go back across the river. As soon as they get there, they start packing up. And by the next morning, 8,000 men have left. What I think is very important about the way the mission behaved is that although we were faced with overwhelming force, we did not pull out. We again asked ourselves, what would we do if we were overrun, knowing we had no extraction capability? We didn't leave, we stayed the course, and the situation evolved as I described it. Any questions? Otherwise, I think we're just about to go to the Pibor Commissioner.
نينا قلنا في الريبورت بتاعي أنا ككوميشنر عدد الماتوا أيام سواء 2182 عيال صغار ونسوان.
These are the small children and women.
هنا قلنا الرجال اللي ماتوا 959.
A man who died, 950 men killed. Children who are abducted, 1,293.
النسوان اللي شالوا 497.
Women abducted, 497.
هنا عندنا حاجة بتاع 180 جنة الفقط عيال أمواتهم وأبواتهم وحسا قاعدين بطرف بتاعنا هنا.
We have 180 children, orphans, who lost their parents.
Are you ready? Yes. Okay. Preach block. Magazine. Ahoy! Now get ready. 15 seconds tripling. Commence. 1, 2, 13, 14, 15. 28, 29, 30. Good.
56, 57, 58.
Now no pressure. United Nations and other NGOs have agreed to build armories, and very soon some of you will be posted to the states to control the armories over there. You must be able to trace weapons that are out. Even after 100 years, you must be able to trace the weapons, and you must be reliable, very, very trustworthy officers, so that you can control your arms in the country. Thank you very much, and God bless you.
À la suite des violences ethniques, le vice-président Riek Machar décide d'envoyer les forces de l'ordre dans les villages pour désarmer les civils. Mais pourquoi la population rendrait-elle les armes quand l'État n'assure pas sa protection ?
شكرا شكرا. Thank you. Thank you. تفضل. فشلوي 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 ينوي اسفلم وي اسفلم وي. السلام عليكم. ونموذج وبيتي عشان ما يكون في موت فرنيتو من بوتو ما يكون في سرقة بتاع عيال نيتو من بوره مري قلاص ما يكون في سرقة بتاع بقر وحكومة بعد ذلك يعمل لكم شغل لأن بدون سلام لنمو بومبر شارع ما بكون فيه مدرسة ما بيشتغل مستشفى ما بيشتغل والحكومة في جنوب قرر أن يشيل سلاح برا يفضل في يد الشرطة والجيش وناس سجون وناس حياة برية كلنا يكون ما عندنا سلاح وبيت وتوجي وبوي تلو شفتوا أنا ما عندي أي سلاح أكون أجمع كتمرك وأنا أكون مرة أنا بقوم يابو يراكي.
En 3 mois, seules quelques centaines de Kalachnikovs seront récupérés par l'armée sur le million d'armes automatiques en circulation. Au cours de la campagne de désarmement, les soldats abusent de leur pouvoir, brutalisent les populations civiles et tuent leurs concitoyens.
So the most immediate thing we want to combat is ethnic violence, and instead use the ethnic differences as assets to build a cohesive national character. So the idea is for our nation to focus on nation building just equally as it focuses on state building.
the cultural weeks that we want to do all across the country.
If you have a mobile exhibition of cultural artifacts, you have a musical performance, you have a theater, a drama program, all happening in a kind of a festival in that one town for that day or two.
And this is one of the projects that are strongly supported by one of the donors.
Okay.
And they want to do it. The idea is the donor is interested in starting to change this mindset of only being limited to conflict and change it to the cultural side, the artistic side of the South Sudan culture.
At least there will be a little bit of movement. It's been a year since I came here and nothing has really materialized.
Riek Machar accueille son président qui revient d'une rencontre avec le Nord. Les tentatives internationales pour amener les deux Soudans à régler leur divorce échouent les unes après les autres. Le Sud accuse le Nord de lui voler son pétrole. Le président Salva Kiir décide d'arrêter la production.
We have disagreements with Khartoum on what fees to pay, particularly the transit fees. They are requesting from us $32.2 for a barrel. Internationally, this is not the case. It ranges between 0.25 to 0.45 cents of a dollar. And hopefully Khartoum will negotiate with us in good faith. Now the playing ground is level. Last time we used to be blackmailed by the fact that, the oil is going to be stopped and interrupted. But our people are behind the decision. Our people are going to find life a little bit difficult. We have no industries that will suffer. It's just that the development we were going to do is going to lag behind by a year.
Yeah, if you look at this from one angle, this is wholly suicidal. The South is completely dependent on oil. Upwards of 96% of its entire budget comes from that one thing. You close down oil production, you may be hurting the North, but you're hurting yourself a lot more. That means they're going to be bankrupt in a couple of weeks. They will have access to almost no money. The money they will have access to, they'll be paying extortionate interest on. Their government is facing shutdown. The role of an intergovernmental organization is to provide advice and guidance, but it's not our country. It's the country of the South Sudanese. We are here as guests, and that's part of my responsibility, is to guide them through those and make suggestions. Also to raise important questions about whether the path they're choosing, what the implications are, what the trade-offs are.
Sans pétrole à exporter, les finances publiques sont au plus bas. Malgré les mesures d'austérité, Lise Grandet vient présenter un nouveau plan de désarmement au vice-président. Elle veut faire adhérer Riek Machar au budget que l'ONU a préparé.
Please.
Excellency, thank you very much, and good morning to all colleagues. What we would like to do this morning is to give you a very quick update on the status of the DDR program. You'll note that ex-combatants for a full year are going to get 100% of their base salary. And the government has made the commitment to pay that salary for a year.
Is William with us? Oh, you are there. Okay. We did مشكلة. بندفع سنة.
Yes.
كويس.
Yes, she understands Arabic. The answer is I
And I want to know whether it goes to know with the austerity measures.
Another point, Excellency, I should have mentioned. The DDR program in South Sudan will be one of the largest DDR programs ever undertaken anywhere in the world. The size and scope of it. The only program that I believe is similar, CD, is in Afghanistan. But I think this one is bigger than Afghanistan. This is an 8-year program. It will in total cost $1.2 billion. So the first 2 years, $164 million. For 8 years, it will cost $1.2 billion. You can see that the major contribution to DDR comes from the government itself.
Have you included this budget, particularly the first part of it, first year, in your current budget, or are we going to go to Parliament to look for supplementary budget?
So it's not going to be like additional resources that we have to look for, but
first year. Are these guys in the driving seat, or is it you in the driving seat?
They'll answer that.
We like the driving seat, but we work together.
It's important, because if you have internalized it, then we'll succeed. If it is imposed and you are only going along, then we'll fail.
Alors même que l'ONU cherche à désarmer, le pouvoir lance un appel à la mobilisation générale. Depuis la fermeture des puits de pétrole, la tension avec le Nord est à son comble. Les deux Soudans sont au bord de la guerre.
أوضح حكومة جنوب السودان أن الهجمات التي تشنها حكومة الخرطوم على المناطق الحدودية بين البلدين تهدف إلى منع دولة جنوب السودان من إنشاء مصافٍ للبترول بولاية واحدة. ذلك على
أي سلاح إنه الجيش بتاع عمر بشير يا ولد أنتم شفتوا في داري لينا سيرين أكل إنسان بتاع تمرين داري ولادكم
أنجي عجوم كاي كوي ويدول خلاص بعدين جفون أيوة ويدول بعدين ثار ويجعل ثار كذي
There we go. So, okay. What we've got, this Tishwin is basically here, and
Where's
that is
Yida?
the border post. Yida is up here.
Okay, so Reed is here.
Yeah.
All right, and Tishwin is here.
Yeah. Now the report.
Now, where is Panyachwak, where they bombed?
Panyakwach. That should be somewhere in this area here.
Okay, so this is all part of that theater.
Yeah, that's a
And
theater.
Where's the border?
The border runs up this river.
Oh, this is it, okay.
That is another big disputed area. If things go badly, what we need to try and figure out is to what extent they really are preparing for all-out fighting across the border. And so far, the suggestions they really are preparing. But,
Are they? I mean, you've just been up there. How serious is that?
So we don't know to what extent they're really bulked up. I mean, we get all this stuff in which they're trying to mobilize and they're trying to get recruitment going, which is disturbing. We don't know how many tanks they have. We don't know what their strength, but there's certainly over 100 battle tanks of one sort or another, possibly far more than that. We're not monitoring this stuff, and unfortunately, because we don't get information from the SPLA, our only way of knowing when we need to start worrying about an area blowing up like this is by knowing what they're doing.
Of course, a war, I feel funny saying this, but in many ways what wars do is reinforce state structures because the state concentrates its resources in order to fight the war. But in state-building terms, the threat at the moment is in fact the fiscal situation, and unless the government is able to secure some kind of a Cinderella loan, they're going to be out of money.
Yes, there are photos.
from Beijing. From Beijing. Yeah, it's a long flight.
Things that because we're part of the budget sector working group process in helping to prepare the national budget, and one of the things that we're noticing is that a number of the spending agencies in the government, I mean, it's almost as if there's no austerity. You know, continuing to spend as if everything's normal.
The government is not going to collapse. The vital government functions are going to be maintained, to be carried out. That I can guarantee you.
Very good to hear that there are plans in place. Some of the recent events, even within the last 36 hours along the border, suggest that the tensions between South Sudan and Sudan seem to be intensifying and seem to be escalating.
It is bad now. It has been bad over the last 36 hours, but I think it's going to fetter out. I feel very optimistic about this.
The worry is that there's a powder keg and the match gets lit and it's out of control.
Even if it gets out of control, it will be for a while.
And then there will be a pullback.
There will be a pullback. People like you, the UN and the AU, and the common sense within the international community, I believe is going to prevail.
I hope so too. Excellency, I hope so.
Yes.
Excellency, thank you. A great meeting. I'm very grateful.
Elise.
Thank you so much.
Always a pleasure.
Après une année, et malgré les bonnes intentions, le Soudan du Sud, soutenu, financé, fabriqué par la communauté internationale, reste un État en devenir. Sans loi, sans ordre, sans paix. Seule la promesse de liberté pour un peuple opprimé s'est imposée.
Like thousands of other people in this country, we are driven by the promise that this country presents to all of us, that it can be a very good place, can be a nice country with a lot of resources, with comfortable life, with ability to assert itself on a global stage. So to watch some people trying to misuse the resources and squander the resources of this country, resources that were gained through blood and sweat of so many people, 3.5 million people have perished in the last 50 years, it pains one very badly. And you watch some things and you work hard. Today I was spinning in wheels for hours and hours trying to get something done, and I come home empty-handed. It's easy for someone to become emotional and hold back tears. This is not what my older brother died for, you know.
Just so I know who is leaving this weekend, who do I have in case we go to war?
You have my leave request on you.
I have your leave request. Okay, Giovanni, you're here. Sylvia, you're here.
I'm here. I want to leave for a few days next week.
That's fine. I just need to know over Easter
I'm
who's
here.
here.
I'm
and you're here. Okay, so that's our core team.